Corporate chess does not tolerate arrogance. In 1994, the global video game empire belonged to an absolute sovereign, a Japanese dynasty that treated partners as subjects and dictated the rules of a billion-dollar market with an iron fist: Nintendo. No one dared to challenge the throne of the Kyoto castle, but in the shadows of Tokyo's offices, a consumer electronics giant watched every move, shifting its pieces in absolute silence. Sony didn't just want a slice of the young market. They were planning a surgical execution. To understand the magnitude of the betrayal, we must return to the moment when the two powerhouses decided to shake hands. In the late 1980s, Nintendo realized that the future of gaming required a revolutionary medium: the CD-ROM. Unable to master this technology alone, they sought out Sony's most brilliant mind, a stubborn engineer named Ken Kutaragi. The deal seemed perfect. Sony would develop the CD drive for Nintendo's new console, the PlayStation. It was the birth of a technological chimera, a blood pact sealed under the watchful eyes of executives who smiled in public while hiding their true intentions beneath the table. But on the board of high strategy, naivety is a fatal mistake. Nintendo, accustomed to total control over its supply chain, realized too late that the signed contract gave Sony nearly exclusive rights over the CD software format. In a flash of clarity and panic, Nintendo's president, Hiroshi Yamauchi, realized he had placed a serpent in his own nest. Sony was no mere supplier. They were using Nintendo's infrastructure to learn the rules of the game and eventually deliver the checkmate. The alliance was dead before it was even born. June 1991. Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago. The world witnessed the official unveiling of the PlayStation by Sony, a public celebration of the union between the two giants. What no one expected was the brutal counterattack that would unfold less than 24 hours later in a press conference that went down in history as the greatest public humiliation. In the business world, Nintendo took the stage and announced it was breaking ties with Sony to ally itself with its fiercest European rival, Philips. The betrayal was a punch to the gut, an insult calculated to disgrace Sony in front of global investors. Japanese pride is an implacable force. Within Sony's corridors, the humiliation instantly transformed into a cold desire for retaliation. Sony's CEO, Norio Oga, infuriated by Nintendo's AUD. "Back down now. We will be a laughingstock for the rest of our lives. We have to create our own console and crush them." Oga authorized the counterattack. The PlayStation project was removed from the standard hardware division and isolated within Sony Music, far from the eyes of directors who might sabotage it. Kutaragi wasn't just building a console. He was designing a war machine focused on three-dimensional graphics, a technology Nintendo considered immature. While the giant of Kyoto remained blinded by the overwhelming success of the Super Nintendo, relying on the power of its obsolete cartridges, Sony was quietly recruiting the world's top game developers, offering them a creative freedom that Nintendo's tyranny had never allowed. The year is 1994. The board was set for the final confrontation. Nintendo was preparing its Ultra 64, promising unprecedented graphical power, but insisting on the use of expensive cartridge. Approached the microphone, pronounced a single number, $299, and walked off. The price was $100 cheaper than the competition's console. The audience went wild. Sony's masterstroke triggered a catastrophic domino effect across Nintendo's empire. Development giants like Squaresoft, creator of the cash cow Final Fantasy, realized that their cinematic 3D worlds would never fit onto a Nintendo cartridge. In an act of mass desertion that shocked the industry, developers abandoned the former sovereign to swear allegiance to the new king of the CD-ROM. Nintendo watched, paralyzed, as its most loyal allies deserted. When the PlayStation hit stores, it didn't just attract the kids playing Mario. It captured an entire generation of teenagers and adults looking for a mature aesthetic, high-fidelity sound, and complex narratives. 100 million units sold, while the Nintendo 64 suffered a strategic isolation, from which it would take the company decades to emotionally recover. The history of the console war is not just a chronicle of chips, silicon, and polygons. It is a definitive lesson in the psychology of power. Nintendo was defeated by its own hubris, by the unyielding belief that its cultural monopoly made it invulnerable to technological changes, by underestimating the resentment it bred in its partners and publicly dishonoring Sony. It lit the fuse of its own obsolescence. In the chess game of global markets, the size of your current empire matters less than the speed at which you can adapt to the next evolutionary wave. Sony, for its part, proved that innovation is often born from well-channeled narcissistic wounds. Ken Kutaragi and Norio Oga transformed a corporate affront into relentless engineering fuel. They understood that games no longer belonged solely to childish platform mechanics, but rather to interactive cinema, electronic music, and total cultural immersion. The PlayStation didn't win the war just because of its hardware. It won because it redefined the meaning and identity of the 21st century cultural industry itself. Today, decades after the dust of that battle has settled, the board remains active, but the scars of that great betrayal have reconfigured the entertainment ecosystem forever. Nintendo survived by reinventing itself as a bastion of nostalgia and portable family innovation, while Sony consolidated itself as the titan of cinematic home entertainment, an epic rivalry that teaches us that, in business as in life, a slighted ally today can become the ruthless executioner of your tomorrow. If you want to unlock the hidden secrets behind the biggest power moves in the business world, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Leave your comment below. Did Nintendo deserve the betrayal, or was Sony too ruthless? Your subscription guarantees your place in the next high strategy analysis. Until the next move.